Publicity. You have a test of plan and aid for PCN board sorters and event hosts. Are there any creative projects that you would like to pursue outside of this?
I think that we could utilize, or not utilize, we could collaborate with our historian way more. I feel like there is some overlap with media. I've worked with doing short form content, but also right now Elizabeth also does short form content in addition to the YouTube. And I feel like because of that overlap, I feel like we could have that kind of design aspect added on. Added on to that. Something that I really looked up to my predecessor is that there was also that overlap between the PCN theme and also the day in the lives. So I feel like if we are able to collaborate with thumbnails, we can have, again, that cohesive design that I think is so important. Yeah, thank you for pointing. More?
In your platform, you said that you want to utilize and promote the design committee. How do you plan on getting recruited for that?
This year, I just noticed that we didn't really publicize committee at all outside of our general meetings. Like, it would be on the slideshow, QR code, but then once that disappeared, it was very hard for people who might be interested to access it. Maybe they didn't get it in time, or maybe they just didn't think that they'd be interested at the time. But it'd be hard for them to change their mind because it's really not found anywhere, and that it wasn't really part of my job because of our roles were separate. It was more, well, it's called the design committee, so it was more part of the design role, so I couldn't really help with getting membership up like that. But I have created graphics for promoting the other committees, and I feel like if I simply promote it, post about it, we could get more numbers, because we had some people for friendship games, but after friendship games for Olympics, they weren't really utilized at all, and I feel like that's something we could do, especially during this busy season.
This being your second year designing for the software keyboard, how have you feel like you have grown in this position? What worked and what didn't?
I feel like I just really learned a lot from my predecessor, especially during onboarding. I loved the way she handled the request form, and I feel like once I saw how she made her boundaries of 14-day policies, making sure everyone gets those in advance, I was able to see that that worked, and it did work for me. The only thing that didn't work is when you have that kind of leeway where it's like, okay, maybe you didn't get it in the 14-day mark. I'll still help out though, but it got to the point where I was like, please stick to my schedule, especially when things got complicated and I suddenly had to do PCN design. Then I was like, if I can't do it for you, then you might have to handle it on your own. And that seemed to work. My fellow board members that requested for me, they were able to handle it on their own. And I feel like something I learned from Megan as well is that she would always have those resources available to provide when she couldn't directly create those for them.
I have a question. You will be tasked with creating all of the graphics for Songplan year-round. As mentioned, for all of the different events that we have, this includes bigger and smaller projects. How will you balance all of these while avoiding creative burnout?
Similar to like what I said in my speech, because so many themes are decided on in the beginning of the year, even overlapping with summer, getting that head start of creating these templates will make it easier to get out all of those tedious, smaller events like fundraisers. Fundraisers are usually the same amount of information as location, date, what the product is, and I feel like that is very easy to switch out, especially if I'm able to use my design committee. I feel like those are easy instructions to make. Canva is very easy to use. And I feel like once I'm able to kind of have that membership and have these templates for them to follow, we are able to like just keep those flowing out while I might be like, okay, you guys work on maybe the Gothic calendar and using the templates that I provided you, and I will be making sure that Olympic or French Games hopefully is on my radar.
So you've accomplished a lot in this position in the past year. What skills do you hope to further develop in the coming year? Yeah, of course. So you accomplished a lot this year. What skills do you hope to develop or maybe even gain next year?
I feel like I've just learned a lot from being on the board and being in the role. And I feel like now that I know the timing of everything and how long everything takes, I feel like I'm going to be able to section or like organize my time well. Now I know like PCN has, yes, it's the program, yes, it's the poster, but then there are these little things like the ticketing site, which, you know, I didn't know about until it was all due in 1 week. And I feel like now that I don't have 1 week to do everything, I feel like that's prepared me for the rush of all of these events happening. And I know I'm emphasizing the design committee a lot, but I feel like that is such an important part, and it'll also help like bring out the potential of others that might be interested in this role as well, or might be interested in social media marketing, but might not be wanting to do whole big designs like PCN. So collaboration is something that I really